Hello everyone. I understand that I'm super overdue for a Draft League video, but there's been a huge time crunch lately just because I have AP tests coming up. So plus it's my senior year, I'm going through senioritis, I don't really feel like doing a whole lot anyway, I can't motivate myself. So really I'm recording at the only times that I feel any sort of energy at all, which is very, very rare throughout the course of a week. So, in WCBL, we did, in fact, make playoffs, even though we lost to Killua in our last match. We still secured the 4 seed. We were locked for playoffs no matter what. And so I was very, very scared that I would have to play Primer in this round. Primer, I think, was the scariest opponent I could have possibly gone up against. Just because the only reason I beat him last time was because of a full para. No, it wasn't a full para. It was just a T-Bolt para. To make him slower than me, and then I crit him to knock out the Deoxys. So I really, really did not want to face Primer in this matchup. And as you can see with the title of my team, I am in fact not facing Primer in this matchup. If Primer won his last week match versus A-Guy, then we would have ended up playing Primer in this round. However, Primer did lose that match, so now APT moves up into the 5th seed, which we will play. Now, you guys may not recognize the name of APT before. You guys might be like, okay, when have we played him this season? We haven't. Antoine, who was an admin, was very, very involved with the league. He unfortunately had to drop out, and so APT took over his team. Now that you guys are kind of realizing this, you're thinking, oh, you had 4 losses, which was APT, and well, one of which was Antoine. However, during the time when APT picked up the team, he made a lot of changes. The reason I could not beat Antoine last time, this is his team down in the lower left that I'm circling with the mouse. The reason I could not beat Antoine last time was because I could not break his Celesteela Tangrowth combo without my Mega Houndoom, and at the point in time, Antoine also had a Toxapex that basically got a free switch in every time on my Houndoom. Houndoom, even if I Nasty Plot, could not touch Toxapex. And so Toxapex and Tangrowth just beat me down to the point where I had no chance. I could not break the Celesteela Tangrowth while he had his Toxapex. However, as you can see, Celesteela was dropped in favor of Heatran. This is both good and bad. I can hit it with ground moves now. However, it does have actually an immunity to my Mega Houndoom. So that's one thing we have to look out for. Tangrowth, again, is the same big threat. The Kyurem and the Silvally are still there. Yanmega is a new addition. APT is 7 kills, 1 death with Yanmega in the 3 games he's played with it. So APT is very, very scary with Yanmega on his team. The Mega Gallade is, I believe, Antoine had Mega Audino. However, he dropped this in favor of Mega Gallade. Kind of like Heatran, this is both a good and a bad thing. I no longer have to deal with the Mega Audino, but there is a Mega Gallade on his side, which I have struggled against in the past, just because Psychic Fighting is weak. Its only weaknesses are very rare types. Its weaknesses are Ghost, Flying, and Fairy. All of which, as attacking types, are very, very rare. Like, outside of, say, Gengar and like Mega Pidgeot. Like, you're not gonna find a lot of ghost flying types. Not as rare as obviously the Fire, Water, Grass and the Fairy Dragon Steel. Fairy is the only one that's kind of fairly common, but still. Mega Gallade is very, very hard to take down. Lycanroc Dusk, I believe, is also a new addition. I kind of like this because I have things such as a Deoxys Speed and the Zygarde that can outspeed the Lycanroc Dusk and can hit it super effectively. Also, the Ferrothorn can take multiple hits from the Lycanroc Dusk. So I feel that Lycanroc Dusk, the addition of it to this team, very much favors us in this matchup. Sash can be a very, very bad thing that we'd have to deal with. We also have Roserade, which deals with, well, I don't want to say deals with Lycanroc Dusk, but it's able to take, I believe, one resisted hit, even though Roserade has terrible defenses. Finally, Swampert Sandslash, the dual ground types, and then finally the Hoopa U, which used the Z-Snatch set to beat a couple of our mons last time. So let's get into the team builder. First up, we have Machine King, our Rotom fan, leftovers with Air Slash, Volt Switch, Toxic, and Defog. Now, we are running a lot of Spadef. This is so we can live the maximum amount of hits from Kyurem as possible. This also allows us to take more hits from the Heatran, because Heatran more than often is special attacking. So, we can take more hits from the Heatran this way. I plan on Rotom being in on the Heatran a lot because of Rotom's ability to defog. That's the big thing. You'll see on later mons, I really don't like Rocks Up on this team. So I'm going to try as hard as I can to try and defog those away. I plan on Rotom being in on the Heatran a lot. Rotom is in on the Heatran, I can just keep clicking defog and make sure he doesn't get his Rocks Up. Now, Air Slash, like I said, flying is one of the few things that deals with Mega Gallade. So Air Slash helps us deal with Mega Gallade in that regard. However, because we have no special attack investment, it is not a 2-hit KO. It is a 3-hit KO on the Mega Gallade. However, due to common substitute sets, if he's a substitute set, we still break his sub every single time with Air Slash, and also we can just put pressure on the Mega Gallade. And we have enough defensive investment, 64 EVs with max HP, in order to not get 2-hit KO'd by anything the Gallade wants to do. Granted, this is all unboosted, so if the Gallade does not have a Swords Dance up, then we are 3-hit KO'd, which allows us to Air Slash to get rid of the sub, and then Volt Switch. Can deal with this, or just keep Air Slashing if I feel like I am in a good position to give up my Rotom. Next, we move on to Naturia, our Roserade. We are running a Payapa Berry with Technician HP Ground, Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, and Energy Ball. Roserade Sludge Bomb, with max special attack investment, is our only way of 2-hit KOing the Tangrowth on our entire team. Every single set we could possibly come up with, unboosted, Roserade Sludge Bomb is the answer of 2-hit KOing the Tangrowth on our entire team outside of Mega Houndoom. Now you may be wondering, you may be looking at this team and you say, okay, where's the Mega Houndoom? Due to Heatran having a fire immunity, and if he switches his Heatran in on the Mega Houndoom and takes a fire attack, it boosts Heatran's special attack by 1.5. I really don't want this Heatran becoming a problem. Also, things such as Lycanroc Dusk. Even though Houndoom outspeeds, it cannot hit Lycanroc Dusk super effectively, nor can it knock it out with any hidden powers that Mega Houndoom could run. So, due to also Mega Gallade and its fighting type, very much pressures our Mega Houndoom, and the Dark type on Mega Houndoom is neutral on the Mega Gallade. So, also the Yanmega, I believe Fire resists Bug, or if it doesn't, then Yanmega is super effective on the Mega Houndoom. So that's also another reason to not bring it. Because if the Yanmega gets a speed boost up, it beats Houndoom 1v1. Also, Hoopa is very often running fighting coverage, so those are just a plethora of scenarios in which I do not want to bring my Mega Houndoom. However, because I don't want to bring my Mega Houndoom, Rosemary Sludge Bomb, like I said, is the only way we can 2-hit KO the Tangrowth. Lastly, we have Energy Ball just for a form of stab. It also hits the Lycanroc Dusk, the Swampert, and the Sandslash all super effectively. And we're running max special attack so that Technician HP Ground can 2-hit KO the Heatran. 100%. I'm pretty sure no matter what spread. I think it allows us to 2-hit KO the Heatran. Granted, that he is not Shucka Berry or Air Balloon. That can be very, very bad. We are running Pyapa Berry, however, so that when we are in on the Mega Gallade or the Hoopa, really this is mainly for the Mega Gallade, we guaranteed take one Zen Headbutt from the Mega Gallade. And so therefore we can go with a Shadow Ball, and with this spread, Shadow Ball 2-hit KOs Mega Gallade. So we're guaranteed doing over half with a Shadow Ball, and then if the Gallade is already below half for whatever reason, we can guaranteed knock out the Gallade with a Shadow Ball. And with the Pyapa Berry, we guaranteed take a Zen Headbutt. We do need max HP, however, in order to do this. I didn't want defense investment because then we were weaker to the Heatran, and Heatran could possibly knock us out with whatever it wanted to go for. Even though we do have the Hidden Power Ground, because we are running no speed, I do have to run bulk for the Mega Gallade and the Heatran, so I can't run speed. The Heatran does outspeed us, so that is the reason I am running Pyapa Berry with this spread. Next, we have Dark Magician, our Deoxys Speed. We are running one of my favorite sets, and that is our Focus Sash Nasty Plot variant. We're running Focus Sash Nasty Plot with Signal, Flash Cannon, and Shadow Ball. Once that does 2-hit KO the and it spread, obviously. I believe AV Spadef sets KO'd, but this also allows us to beat the Hoopa Unbound. And what else gets hit super effectively by Bug? Those were the main two. But yeah, just those two. I just need a way to be able to deal with those two. We have Flash Cannon, because Flash Cannon actually does a lot to his team. It beats the Kyurem, it beats the Lycanroc Dusk, and those are the big ones. I didn't really have a lot of my team outside of Kyurem, because Kyurem beats Rotom, it beats Roserade. I need something for the Kyurem that wasn't Mimikyu, because I'm already relying on Mimikyu for other things. And if he specs Kyurem, that can be very, very bad. So, I do have Flash Cannon as a steal move. And then Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball allows us to hit the Rotom, the Mega Gallade, and we do hit the Hoopa neutrally. So that's alright. That's alright by me. We're running 152 plus speed to allow us to outspeed base 95s at +1 speed. So this involves his Silvally. If he wants to run Scarf Silvally, I do believe that if he brings Silvally to this match, it more often than not will be Scarfed. He needs something to try and outpace my Deoxys Speed. However, the Kyurem could also very well be Scarfed. Scarf Kyurem is a very common set. Yanmega has obviously Speed Boost. All of these are 95 base speed. At +1 speed, we guaranteed outspeed. Even if they are at +1 due to Scarf or Speed Boost, we guaranteed outspeed all of them. Rotom is 91 base speed, so if that in fact is Scarfed, we outspeed that as well, and we can hit that super effectively. So that is why we are running this speed investment. We have 252 into special attack, just to give us the hardest hitting, and then we have 104 into HP, because Yakizola has a relatively low HP stat, so we can boost that a little bit, let it live some hits. Next up, we have Dark Necrofear, our Mimikyu, with Mimikium Z, Play Rough, Shadow Claw, Swords Dance, and Woodhammer. We are running max speed in order to outspeed all of his base 95s, all three of them, because Mimikyu does have 96. base speed. So at max speed, we outspeed them by 1 point. Next, I'm running Mimikyium Z because this has become problems before, myself missing play roughs, because they are in fact 90% accurate. However, I miss play roughs very often. So, what Mimikyium Z play rough allows me to do is it gets a giant play rough hit off on several of his mons. The only resist, I believe, being Heatran? He doesn't have poison type, does he? No, he doesn't have a poison type. So Heatran is his only fairy resist. We also are able to hit the Hoopa Unbound and the Mega Gallade, are the two biggest threats, super effectively. And basically, it also gives us a guaranteed play rough. I don't have to rely on that 90% accuracy with Mimikyium Z. We have Shadow Claw, just same reason as Shadow Ball on Deoxys Speed and Shadow Ball on Roserade. Ghost spam is very is usable against his team. I'm not going to say it's great. I am going to say it's usable. Swords Dance to boost our own attack, and finally Wood Hammer, as it is the best way of dealing with things such as the Swampert, the Sandslash, the Lycanroc Dusk, and I believe that's it. Yeah, basically those three. Because Lycanroc Dusk outspeeds us and does in fact get Iron Head, so that can be very, very problematic if our disguise is broken. So Wood Hammer allows us to knock out all of those mons. Swampert can be very, very bulky, so Wood Hammer allows us to knock that out as well. Next we are running Toon World, Ferrothorn. We are running Akaberry with Gyro Ball, Bulldoze, Stealth Rock, and Toxic. Now, with this attack investment, 208, with Bulldoze and Akaberry, this allows us we guaranteed 2-hit KO the Heatran with Bulldoze. Akaberry allows us to take a fire type attack, no matter what that is. And if I can say catch the Heatran switching in on the Ferrothorn, because it is a relatively free switch in, I can't really do anything to it. I click Bulldoze, I take the fire hit with the Akaberry on the next turn, and then I Bulldoze again. Boom, he has no Heatran. So, Stealth Rock. We want to get our rocks up because it breaks a lot of sashes on his team. Kyurem could be sashed. Yanmega is the big one. It very well could be sashed. Gyro Ball also does a huge amount against his team, particularly against mons such as the Gallade, Lycanroc Dusk, Hoopa U, if it is the Z-Snatch variant that we saw last time, the Kyurem, and the Yanmega. Kyurem is 95 base speed, fairly fast. Gyro Ball hits that super effectively. It does a lot of damage. Yanmega. If Yanmega is at +1 due to its speed boost, we guaranteed knock it out with Gyro Ball. Like I said, the Z-Snatch Hoopa variant, unless he is running fighting coverage, we should be able to take any hit that the Hoopa wants to go for. We should be able to take any one hit that the Hoopa wants to go for, and then fire off the Gyro Ball to kill that Z-Snatch set. Mega Gallade is also very, very fast at base 115, so if he does end up switching it in on the Ferrothorn and taking a Gyro Ball, it does not like taking Gyro Balls. Toxic, because I do believe Toxic is the best move in the game, and Stealth Rocks break potential sashes and put pressure on his Heatran to keep it from switching in and out and setting up its rocks. Finally, we have Monster Reborn, our Alomomola, with Leftovers, Wish Protect, Scald, and Knockoff this time. And we are running enough investment, I believe, to live a... I want to say live a Leaf Storm from the Tangrowth. What's the other thing? Rotom is his electric type? Yeah, we're living a Leaf Storm from the Tangrowth. Also, this investment allows us to not get 2-hit KO'd by the Mega Gallade unboosted. So, I can freely switch this thing in on the Mega Gallade. He goes for the close combat. It does less than 50%. I wish, as he takes me down to about 10%. And then I can use my Regenerator to go out and heal up, and then also get a Wish Pass into something else. So, this also helps wall his Heatran, and I'm running Knockoff, so I can knock off the Heatran in order to remove any Shuckaberry or Air Balloon that Heatran could be carrying. Because like I said, Roserade is a big way to deal with the Heatran if I can get its item knocked off, if it's a sort of ground immunity item. So I believe that is it. I went over why I'm not bringing Houndoom. My big win cons for this match are Mimikyu and Deoxys Speed. However, Rose Raid can be a potential win condition as well if I can whittle his team enough. Now let's get into the match. He has decided to bring the Heatran, the Hoopa, the Mega Gallade, the Lycanroc, the Silvally, and the Yanmega. Yanmega came as expected. Silvally is slightly a surprise. However, I don't see a type, so I'm guessing it is the Scarf variant. That's what I think going into this. He brought the Lycanroc Dusk, the Mega Gallade, the Hoopa, and the Heatran. So, one thing I want to say, there is no Tangrowth. Tangrowth was like I said, Tangrowth was a giant problem to our team. The only one who 2-hit KO'd it, if none of my mons were boosted, was Rose Raid. Obviously, Mimikyu and Deoxys boosted can deal with it. However, Roserade was the only one who could 2-hit KO it without boosting. Thankful that he did not bring the Tangrowth. However, it does kind of limit our uses on our Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb's really kind of useless, but I needed it there anyway for the Tangrowth. Yanmega is scary as always, but he did bring several of the mons I thought he would bring. The real wild card here is in fact the Silvally. I am predicting the Scarf variant because it outspeeds every single mon on my team, barring Deoxys, and he probably would run Scarf knowing that I wouldn't want to run a lot of speed on my Deoxys Speed because it's a Deoxys Speed. You don't want to run a ton of speed on it because it already has that natural speed investment. Or natural, not investment, but natural base speed. So here we go into the match. So he leads his Heatran, I lead my Alomomola. Now, potential leads that I thought, obviously the Heatran to try and set up rocks. I also thought he could lead Lycanroc as a potential second rock setter. I wanted to potentially try and lead Roserade on this Heatran to maybe get off a surprise HP ground, or lead off with my Mimikyu as I could straight up Oko the Lycanroc Dusk. However, Mimikyu gets walled by Heatran. Alomomola was overall the best lead just to see what he wanted to lead. So, he's obviously going to set up his rocks, and I'm going to go for the knockoff. Now, that's part of the reason also I led with Alomomola, so I can get the knockoff on this Heatran, get rid of whatever item he has, and so that Roserade can then hit it super effectively later down the line. I click Wish, and he actually clicks Roar. He roars me out into my Mimikyu. I, of course, have to switch because Mimikyu cannot touch Heatran, and he ends up going for the Flamethrower to take me down. However, I do get the Wish back on my Rotom. So what this leads me to believe is that he does, in fact, he might be lacking a Steel move because he didn't go for it against the Mimikyu. And it still hit the same amount of damage against my Rotom. So he might be lacking a Steel move. Now, if he is lacking a Steel move, there are other mons that could have Steel moves, such as the Lycanroc, obviously with Iron Head, and Silvally maybe. I don't know what Steel moves Silvally gets. There we go. I decided to defog on this Heatran. Like I said, this matchup is going to be quite often. He Stealth Rocks again. I defog again. He goes for Flamethrower. Doesn't do a whole lot. I was really scared of him burning me because it negates my leftovers for the rest of the match. So, I switch out my Rotom because thinking he would probably just keep going for rocks and keep, flamethrowing me until he burned me to try and negate my leftovers. After that, he very well could beat me 1v1 if I'm going for the anti-rock setup. So I go out into my Alomomola so that I can then Wish Pass into something else to not take the rocks damage. So I end up going for the Scald here, knowing that he can't touch me and figuring he would switch also, then I could do that. I could, do something based on whatever he wanted to do. So the Scald, doing so little obviously, lets me know that he has some bulk investment. I know that he is at least, I believe, max HP. He ends up pulling out the Roar again to roar me into my Mimikyu. Obviously, I have to switch out again because Mimikyu can't touch this thing. I can't let its disguise get broken. He goes for the Earth Power. So he's revealed all 4 moves. Fire, Earth, Roar, and Stealth Rocks. So, I know that he has no move to actually touch my Mimikyu. However, I really wish I was running something besides Wood Hammer on my Mimikyu, because Mimikyu does beat this 1v1, and if it did have a move that could hit it super effectively, and he's roared me out and do it twice. So, I plan on at least attempting to Wish Up again. He actually pulls the switch into Gallade, which I thought was very surprising on his part, that he would, because his Heatran, until I could get into my Rose Raid, his Heatran pretty much just sat there, or get into my Ferrothorn. His Heatran pretty much just sat there. So him going out into his Gallade, I feel like was sort of a misplay, because it allowed me to go out into something else that his Heatran would have walled. So now I can go out to my Mimikyu, knowing my disguise is up, I can take whatever this wants to go for, and Mimikyu is supposed to beat this 1v1. He, however, pulled out the sub. So, basically, worst case scenario, he hit my Alomomola with a non-fighting move that obviously would have broken Mimikyu's disguise, but then Mimikyu's in on this thing with no sub up. However, I do know that sub is a common set, so Mimikyu is just overall a safe switch into... and we're back at full health. However, I don't want to waste my Z Play Rough now, because obviously Z Play Rough knocks out this thing. So I'm actually going to go for the regular Play Rough in order to break the sub, because I don't want that extra damage of the Z move going to waste. So let's hope I hit this Play Rough. He goes for the Ice Punch, actually, so that reveals to me that he might not be Psychic Stab, which is very, very threatening to our Rose Raid. Our Rose Raid tech with the Pyapa Berry kind of fell apart. And then Ice Punch is also able to deal with the Rotom, which would normally almost wall this thing. So my guess is that he's Ice, fighting, and then he could be a setup move at this point. So I go for the Play Rough, and it does connect. We are lucky with our Play Roughs right here. So he is forced to go out into his Heatran on another Play Rough. I went for another regular Play Rough for the same reason. Not for the reason that he could sub up again, but he could also switch out. I didn't want to waste my Z move. I go out into my Aloe. He roars me out again, this time into my Ferrothorn. So now I can use the Akaberry tech, and I can click Bulldoze. He, however, decides to go out into his Yanmega. So, So this screams to me that he's going to try and set up on my Ferrothorn, thinking that my Ferrothorn can't touch his Yanmega. However, I am running the Gyro Ball specifically for his Yanmega. So, a crit obviously will just straight up knock it out. A regular hit will leave it around 10%-ish, probably. And also, he cannot 2-hit KO me from this range, unless he gets a Spadef drop. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna click Gyro Ball. However, he does click Bug Buzz. That did half our health, so we are almost guaranteed to live another one. That we took 47, and I believe that was a fairly high roll. We have 48 health left, so there's a good chance we could live the next one. However, now that takes him down, and we do get the crit Gyro Ball. Because of the Life Orb damage, I don't know if it was a roll or not. He said that it was a roll afterward. So the crit probably mattered. However, I did almost always live the next one. So, yes, my Ferrothorn would have been lower, but we would have knocked out that Yanmega no matter what. So now the Hoopa is in on the Ferrothorn. Knowing that he probably has Fighting Stab, I'm going to go on ahead and stay in. I thought that I really wanted to try to get up rocks, and then also Ferrothorn didn't really do a whole lot. I was down to a low range, so it did not 1v1 the Heatran. And we also did not live some hits from Lycanroc. So, yes. So we do live a Fire Punch. We don't live a fighting hit. However, I will be able to scout his moveset if he did go for a fighting move. And this allows us to Toxic. I just click Toxic because unless he were to go into the Heatran, it pretty much covered anything that he wanted to do. And the big problem last time was that the Hoopa clicked Z-Snatch and it just sat on the field. So that's another reason I clicked Toxic and I stayed in. Because like I said, Ferrothorn didn't do a whole lot at this point unless I could wish it up. And then I was able to Toxic this Hoopa so that it could not Z-Snatch sweep my team. He goes for the knockoff, and he gets hit with the Iron Barbs and now the Poison. So I can go into my Aloe, and unless he's Z-Snatch, I can almost wall this thing. Unless he obviously has an offensive Z move, I can 1v1 this thing. However, he pulls out the Hyperspace Fury. I forgot that it broke Protect. So going for Protect right there was probably bad. I should have gone for Scald. However, we're able to wish up no matter what. We live it no matter what. And like I said, unless he is an offensive Z move, he cannot beat us 1v1. So there we get our wish back, and he dies in one more hit. However, he is an offensive Z move, which I was hoping he wouldn't be. And we are going to lose our Alomomola right here. Now, because of this, we can no longer heal up our Rotom, so our getting rid of rocks is very, very limited. All the rest of our mons are very, very limited. And this basically, like, I have to win this in the next, like, 10 turns or so. Because otherwise, he's going to will my mons so much to where I can't do a whole lot. He gives up his Hoopa, however, to do it. But, you know, he has 10,000 other threats, too. Getting back to it. So now it is the Rotom and on the Silvally. I really want to try and defog because I know that the rest of my mons, except for the Mimikyu, can pressure the Heatran to some degree. He ends up going for the Ice Beam, however, and he reveals that he is Life Orb. Life Orb Silvally. So, I am able to defog, get these rocks away, and worst case scenario, it forces my Heatran, it forces his Heatran to have to click rocks again, which gives me basically a free turn. However, I didn't realize that he would have Ice Beam, and I didn't realize it would do half my health. So I thought my Rotom would be able to stick around a bit longer. So he goes with the Parting Shot, actually, to get a free switch into his Heatran so that he can reset the rocks. Toxic was a great move on anything except for the Heatran switch, and he really wants his rocks up. So I'm going to go on ahead and click Volt Switch. Looking back, this was a giant misplay, because if he got rocks up, my Rotom could not switch back in. So what I should have done, I should have left the Rotom in, and I should have just kept clicking Defog. Because then he'd be forced to go for Flamethrower at some point. He wouldn't have his rocks up, and I would let go of my Rotom in order to bring in my Rose Raid anyways. But now, go away. Now he's going to have rocks up, which breaks my Deoxys Sash, which is I really didn't want, because Deoxys or Mimikyu is my win condition. So this is the scenario we're in. We have rocks up. We can't defog anymore. However, we are able to click the Hidden Power and get rid of the Heatran with our knowing that this thing is not a ground resist berry. He goes into his Silvally. All right, so now I'm looking win con. I know Rotom can't switch back in. So really, I'm down to my Rose Raid, my Deoxys, and my Mimikyu at this point. Mimikyu can win. However, the problem is its disguise is already broken, and the Lycanroc and the Gallade outspeed it. So, my Deoxys is my best win condition at this point. However, this is normal Silvally, so Shadow Ball does not hit it. Our other moves are Signal Beam and Flash Cannon, which won't do a whole lot unless boosted. So, my idea now is to get my Deoxys in on something that cannot knock it out, boost up, and if I boost up and the Silvally is low enough, I can win the game. So the Silvally needs to get lower. So what I do, knowing that switching my Rose Raid back in and out on rocks will lower its ability to, and I know that the berry tech won't work. So I'm pretty much forced to kind of give up my Rose Raid if I want damage on this Silvally. Otherwise, it's a free Life Orb hit on whatever, and I can't risk that on my Mimikyu and my Deoxys. So he goes to the Ice Beam, and I take a giant hit on that. However, I do get the Energy Ball, and it does knock him down into range of our Deoxys. So, now, I could have gone into my Deoxys right here. However, if he is Sash Lycanroc, or he is Scarf Lycanroc for whatever reason, we lose. So, I go into my Mimikyu to, knowing that we outspeed this thing, because it's Life Orb and we guaranteed outspeed it. I want to knock this thing out, and then hopefully, like, I'm able to get damage on Lycanroc in some way. Basically, Mimikyu obviously doesn't win at this point, because he has 2 Mons left that outspeed it. So basically, I'm going to try and do as much damage with my Mimikyu as possible, hopefully get something on the Lycanroc. So we're going to go for the Wood Hammer, prepping for the Lycanroc switch. And he goes into his Lycanroc, and this is screaming Sash, because he guaranteed lives any hit, and he is probably able to knock out my Mimikyu. He Iron Heads. So I still have no clue what item he is. Rotom dies, so I have to go into my Deoxys, and I just have to click Nasty Plot right here. The good news is that we live any hit by this thing except for a Banded Stone Edge. We don't live a Banded Stone Edge. And because he clicked Iron Head, I don't know if he's banded or not. If he is Choice Banded, we guaranteed live this Iron Head. And I Nasty Plot here, I outspeed everything, we win the game if he's not sashed. If he's sashed, that's just unfortunate, if he is Focus Sash. So, he actually pulls the switch into his Mega Gallade. So, I've basically figured out his set. Like I said, earlier in the match I figured out his set. He had to have a fighting move in the event that I brought my Mega Houndoom. Fighting also hits Ferrothorn and Chansey super effectively. My 3 most terrifying Mons, at least from what people have told me, were my 2 Walls and my Mega Houndoom. So knowing that he'll have to have a fighting move, Mega Gallade always runs a boosting move, whether that's Swords Dance or Bulk Up. He's going to have one of those. He's already revealed Sub and Ice Punch. So I know that he's not Shadow Sneak, or at least I have a very good assumption that he is not Shadow Sneak. So I'm thinking, why did he switch into this? So, basically, if I did not have Shadow Ball, and I did not click Nasty Plot right here, he won because he would hit me just with an Ice Punch. He has 165 base attack. I mean, it's GG. However, I click Nasty Plot, and I do click the Shadow Ball, and it knocks down his Mega Houndoom. And due to him switching out his Lycanroc, I really hope it's not sashed. If it's sashed, we'll lose. If it's not sashed, we win the game no matter what, because or if it's scarfed. However, if he's scarfed, he doesn't knock us out with anything. With any move scarfed, he does not knock us out. So, and now we outspeed if he's Choice Banded. So pretty much the only way we lose this game at this point is if he's sashed. And he's not sashed! So, we win our first playoff game of the WCBL. Next week, we go on to face Tort, who we lost to earlier this season. But I'm going to come with a lot of cool prep. And we are going to put us, hopefully, in the divisional finals. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you guys in the next video.